When Vladimir Putin was born on October 7, 1952, in Leningrad, the scars of World War II were still fresh. The city bore witness to one of the most harrowing sieges in human history, a 900-day blockade by Nazi forces that had reduced it to near ruin. While the city rebuilt itself brick by brick, this period of hardship and resilience would leave an indelible mark on its inhabitants, including the young boy who would one day ascend to the helm of Russian power. Putin grew up in a communal apartment, or kommunalka, a hallmark of Soviet life for the working class. His family lived modestly, sharing a single room in a building where neighbors cooked in shared kitchens and bathed in communal bathrooms. These humble beginnings contrasted starkly with the grandeur of Leningrad's imperial past, but they also epitomized the grit and determination of a city that refused to break under siege. His father, Vladimir Spiridonovich Putin, was a factory foreman and a war veteran who had fought valiantly in the Red Army during World War II. His mother, Maria Ivanovna Shalomova, survived the siege of Leningrad, narrowly escaping death during one of the city's darkest chapters. Their survival stories became central to young Vladimir's identity, teaching him the values of sacrifice, resilience, and unwavering loyalty to one's homeland. By his own admission, Putin was not an exemplary student in his early years. Described as unruly and mischievous, he often clashed with teachers and was known for his rebellious streak. "I was a hooligan," he later recalled in interviews. "Not a ringleader, but still." Yet, beneath this defiance lay a curious mind and a hunger for purpose, qualities that would eventually steer him toward a more disciplined path. The Leningrad streets were a tough proving ground, and young Putin quickly learned the importance of strength and cunning. Fights were common, and survival often required quick reflexes and mental agility. This rough and tumble upbringing would later inform his political persona, one that combined pragmatism with a steely resolve to dominate any situation. At the age of 12, Putin found an outlet for his restless energy in martial arts, particularly judo and sambo, a Soviet combat sport. His initial motivation was simple: to defend himself against the street gangs that roamed his neighborhood. However, he soon realized that martial arts offered more than just physical strength. They required discipline, strategy, and an unyielding focus. Under the mentorship of Anatoly Raklin, a prominent judo coach, Putin quickly rose through the ranks, earning his black belt and becoming a regional champion. His dedication to judo became a defining feature of his youth and something he would carry into his later life. In judo, he found a philosophy that resonated with him deeply: the ability to turn an opponent's strength against them, to win not through brute force, but through calculated moves and patience. "Judo teaches you to see your opponent's weaknesses," Putin once said. "It also teaches you to control yourself." These principles of self-control and calculated action would become hallmarks of his leadership style, both as a politician and a statesman. As Putin entered adolescence, his interests began to broaden. He became fascinated by espionage and dreamed of joining the KGB, the Soviet Union's feared intelligence agency. The inspiration came from popular Soviet films glorifying spies as patriotic heroes. Putin was particularly captivated by The Shield and the Sword, a 1968 film about a Soviet agent infiltrating the Nazi ranks during World War II. Determined to turn his dream into reality, Putin took the unusual step of visiting a local KGB office to inquire about recruitment. He was told that aspiring agents typically needed a law degree and military service. Undeterred, he resolved to study law and set his sights on Leningrad State University, one of the most prestigious institutions in the Soviet Union. In 1970, Putin enrolled at Leningrad State University, where he specialized in international law. It was during his time at university that he began to shed his rough edges, embracing the discipline and intellectual rigor required to excel in his studies. His professors noted his analytical mind and his ability to stay calm under pressure, traits that would later serve him well in the world of espionage and politics. While at university, Putin was introduced to Anatoly Sobchak, a charismatic law professor who would later play a pivotal role in his political career. Sobchak's teachings on legal theory and governance left a lasting impression on Putin, who admired the professor's bold ideas and unorthodox approach. After graduating in 1975, Putin's long-held ambition finally materialized when he was recruited into the KGB. This marked the beginning of a new chapter in his life, one that would take him far from Leningrad but never far from the lessons he had learned there. Putin's KGB career took him to Dresden, East Germany, in the 1980s. His role involved gathering intelligence and cultivating contacts, but he also witnessed the crumbling of the Eastern Bloc up close. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 was a turning point, both personally and professionally. As East Germany disintegrated, Putin found himself in a precarious position, defending the Soviet consulate as angry crowds threatened to storm the building. It was a moment that reinforced his belief in the importance of order and control, values that would define his approach to governance. When Putin returned to Leningrad in the early 1990s, the Soviet Union was on the verge of collapse. The once mighty state was now grappling with economic turmoil, political instability, and an uncertain future. It was in this chaotic environment that Putin began his foray into politics, working as an advisor to Anatoly Sobchak, who had become the city's first democratically elected mayor. Putin's time in Leningrad city administration was a crash course in the cutthroat world of post-Soviet politics. He gained a reputation for being efficient, loyal, and pragmatic, qualities that caught the attention of influential figures in Moscow. By the mid-1990s, Putin had moved to the capital, where he joined the administration of President Boris Yeltsin. Putin's rapid ascent through the ranks of the Kremlin was nothing short of remarkable. By 1999, he was appointed prime minister, and later that year, Yeltsin unexpectedly announced his resignation, naming Putin as acting president. It was a moment that marked the culmination of a journey that had begun in the communal apartments of Leningrad. As president, Putin would draw heavily on the lessons of his early life. His upbringing in a city that had endured immense suffering instilled in him a deep sense of patriotism and resilience. His judo training taught him the importance of strategy and self-control, while his KGB career honed his ability to navigate complex, high-stakes situations. These experiences combined to create a leader who was not only deeply attuned to Russia's past, but also determined to shape its future. Putin's early years in Leningrad were more than just a backdrop to his rise. They were the crucible in which his character was forged. The city's history of survival against all odds, its culture of resilience, and its ability to rebuild from the ashes became central to his identity. Today, as one of the most influential leaders in the world, Putin often references these formative experiences, using them to frame his vision for Russia as a nation that is strong, independent, and unyielding. While opinions on Putin's leadership remain deeply divided, one thing is certain. His journey from Leningrad to the Kremlin is a story of ambition, resilience, and an unrelenting drive to shape the destiny of his country. In many ways, his life mirrors the history of Russia itself, a nation defined by its struggles, its triumphs, and its unwavering determination to endure.